When you've taken someone's freedom away, you've really taken the most you could ever take from a human being. Once they're incarcerated in there, train them in, more current courses.
Yeah, than hard labor.
And when they leave,
they'll have a skill
and some place to start to have a decent means of livelihood. But now we punish them. We punish them. We take away their dignity, their self-esteem. It's like they're modern day lepers. We've criminalized poverty in this country.
That's true.
If you're poor, if you're rich and guilty, then it's very easy for you to find your way around
the system.
But if you're poor, no matter how innocent you are, then woe unto you.
Hey everybody, my name is Angie Murenga. You're watching Just Angie. It's Modernity Monday. This is extremely emotional. And recently at the Unstuck conference, I shared as Kenyans, we experience emotional things. Like we all watched Nairobi Half-Life, but we watched it, we were sad, and then we went back to just business as usual, not really being bothered. So I really pray that as you listen to the conversations that we're having with Teresa, that you would take action wherever you are. There are 47 counties. I think there are jails in all those counties. There are even people that who've been incarcerated that you need to even try to help. I remember one woman telling me that I have not been to visit people in jail for a long time, but I remember it was December and I said, what can I do? And I said, let me go visit the one people forget. Yeah. So I went to visit them, and I promised myself I wouldn't cry, but I'll tell you my experiences. I wept like a baby. But one lady told me, please find my child. I think they even had won a scholarship for school fees, but the grandmother is too old to take the child to school. Yeah. So the school is there, they even people want to show, but to transport the child from whatever village to school was a problem, and that really broke my heart. And actually everybody talked, the ones who had children who were not in prison with them, all talked to me about their children. So it made sense when you said that they cry at night for where their children are.
And it's very sad statistics that 90% of the women we've imprisoned are the sole breadwinners and their mothers. And 64% of these, and even more, are in there serving a sentence of less than a year, which means it's a very petty offense that has taken most of these women behind bars. 39% of the women in there do not know where their children are.
That's the scary
thing.
Do
not know.
That's where they're crying.
Yeah.
And they don't know where their children are.
Exactly. And just like that lady who spoke to you, it's more than 60% of women in prison whose children, by the way, who mostly are under 10 years, drop out of school. And for us at Clean Start, we have seen, let's work with the women, yes, but also let's work with the girls and the children, because they are girls who are within our rehabilitation schools, who are in bostels, and then there are children of imprisoned mothers. Some who accompany their mothers to prison, but most of whom are out here in our streets who have no people taking good care of them. And as you say, most of them end up with their grandmothers. They are mostly their maternal grandmothers who are so old to take care of these children. And Pastor Angie, the biggest reason why most of these women end up in prison is poverty-related issues, survival petty crimes, which means that there are things that have gone wrong within our government, within our institutions, that we're not able to take care of the most vulnerable, the weak, the marginalized, the left behind. Instead of offering them opportunities, we actually end up stigmatizing them further, kicking them even further, and imprisoning them and weakening them further.
And you see that 1 year will change your whole life drastically. I mean,
completely.
In a negative manner.
In a negative
just
manner.
That 1 year.
You spiral down. By the time you come out with no capital,
recover.
with nothing, you know, and now with children here who you found, where were they, brought them back together. First now, you can't get a certificate of good conduct.
Because you've been in prison.
Because you've been in prison. You can't get a certificate of good conduct. So even becoming, say, a house help or a driver or some of these things that require for you, you know, to get that certificate of good conduct, you can't. The little capital you need to put together to put that kiosk, you know, we really, really need to search ourselves as a country.
Yeah.
And, you know, Nelson Mandela quoted and said, if you want to know a nation, go into their prisons. See how they treat their weakest, the most marginalized. Wow. That's what he said. But if you look at Kenya, how we treat the rich, the people in power, those with means, versus how we treat our weak, you can't even compare these two. Yet, the people who have been put in positions of power to make sure that education is equal for all, to make sure that these economic opportunities are provided for each and every person, the MCA, the MP, these people within these villages, are they really doing that? You know, and these women go there, come out, the opportunities are not there. I mean, the other day we saw this young Kevin guy who had all these A's, but couldn't get a job.
And degrees and qualifications.
How much more so, Pastor Angie?
Someone who's been to prison.
Plus, another sad statistic is that we're imprisoning our youth. They're the growing population within our prisons. And in addition to that, a huge percentage are nursery, kindergarten, primary dropouts. They didn't get an opportunity to continue with high school or to go to higher learning. So if one person has straight A's and can't get a job, how much more so this one?
Who has no straight A's, no degrees, no qualifications. It's even harder for them.
How do they make ends meet?
To stop them even from going back to that prison.
Exactly.
So it's a cycle.
It's a cycle.
It's a vicious cycle.
It's a vicious cycle.
So we need people to provide opportunities.
Yes.
That people can, that they can engage in after. And I think also what I'm hearing you say is the social construct of our society is incorrect.
Yeah.
Because we're not looking after the lowest of the low in the nation.
Yeah.
And I think when I also listened to your story, I was wondering, are we reforming and rehabilitating or punishing? Because when you told me about hard labor, that's another one. You know, you've given me sleepless nights. When you told me that people are doing hard labor, first of all, I was like, why?
Yeah.
Why do they have to do hard labor?
True.
This hard labor is too much.
Yeah.
Are we, from what you described it at, are we rehabilitating and reforming or punishing?
Very true.
What are we doing?
Yeah. And you know, when you've taken someone's freedom away, you've really taken the most you could ever take from a human being. Once they're incarcerated in there, train them in, you know, more current courses.
Yeah, than hard labor.
And when they leave,
they'll have a skill.
And some place to start to have a decent means of livelihood. But now we punish them. We punish them. We take away their dignity, their self-esteem. It's like they're modern day lepers. We've criminalized poverty in this country.
That's true.
If you're poor, if you're rich and guilty, then it's very easy for you to find your way around
through the system.
But if you're poor, no matter how innocent you are, then woe unto you. Surely, we should really be seeing to it that opportunities are availed. And even to these ones who we have pushed to the edge and taken into prison, let's ask ourselves, when they come out into society, what happens? What becomes of them? Stigmatization is so rife. There's a lady who had scorched herself with her son because of the stigmatization she went through post-imprisonment. Then there are young girls, teenagers, and young girls who've been put in rehab schools and bostels. And when they leave these bostels,
what are bostels? You'll be talking about, but then you say,
when
they leave the bostels first, tell me.
When they leave the bostels, this girl wants to continue with education. But because she's been branded a bad girl, a bad 13-year-old girl, a bad 14-year-old girl, she can't be accorded a place in another high school because she'll come to spoil the other ones.
Girls.
So what exactly are we saying to this girl? And this young girl needed mentorship, needed guidance, not being locked up and then being told upon release, you're not suitable enough to join a mainstream school. Or children of imprisoned mothers. We don't have a system where this woman has been imprisoned. She was the sole breadwinner of 3 children. So we're now going to take care of these 3 children, place them in this home or place them at this school. And as a government, we're going to take care of these children until the mother has served her sentence. Or because it's a petty crime, and the problem was she was trying to look for means of a livelihood, we're going to see to it that she gets a means to provide for her children. And instead of imprisoning her and separating her from her children, we're going to see to it that she serves a sentence that's non-custodial, while we're looking for ways of empowering them.
Yeah, and rehabilitating her and changing her life and giving her a different thought process.
Yeah.
But when we come back, maybe we'll pick it up for, I think that's one of the reasons you're doing the coaching program within the system.
Yeah.
I don't think I have words. I think we think through what Teresa has spoken about. I think also, I don't know how you call him Uncle Moody, but thank God, because he did a lot of reforms.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking the prisons would not be the way they were, especially in Nairobi now, if it wasn't for him, because of the uniforms and everything. He gave some dignity, and I've interacted with a few of the prison heads who have really done a lot to bring the dignity to the women and to the men. So, share your thoughts. Do something, please. Don't just sit there. Yeah, we're breaking Kenya free, so take some action. Do something. And if you can't do anything at all, at least pray. Pray for alignment. Pray for leaders who are going to think about those who nobody else thinks about, and pray for the system. The system is broken, and the system is rotten, and the system needs to change. God bless you. See you next Monday.